Hi everyone, it's Angie Rupert, founder of Rupert Law. We handle exclusively E2 and E1 visas, so no matter what treaty country you're from or where you want to be, we can help. Let's start today by talking about the interview, the E2 visa interview. What's changed? It's 2026. How are we going to do the interview? What should we expect? How long will it be? Where do I go? What do I bring? What do I prepare? All of these things, right? These are really important questions. We're going to do it all today. So, first things first, where am I going to go for this E2 visa interview? Here's the answer. The U.S. consulate in your home country. Most countries have one designated consulate where they do E2 visas interviews. Exception, Australia. You lucky ducks get Melbourne, Sydney, or Perth. In Canada, it's going to be Toronto. Yes, I know there's a U.S. consulate in Vancouver. And I know there are others around too in Ottawa and all these. No, you got to go to Toronto. Okay, just be prepared for that. And in England, you're going to be going to London. In France, you're going to be going to Paris. These are the U.S. consulates and embassies. That's where you're going to be doing your interview. How long is this E2 interview going to last? Well, a lot of that is going to depend on how busy they are, how well trained the officer is, and a little bit about your business. But for the most part, they're going to be relatively short. Probably 5 minutes or so. In some instances, they may be a little bit longer than that, but it's likely going to be somewhere in the world of 5 minutes. Once you get to the consulate, you'll understand why. There will be people ahead of you. There will be people behind you. There will be people all over the place, all wanting to get a visa, some E2, some not. You're going to not have a whole lot of time with that officer. Another reason to really be prepared for that E2 visa interview, right? So what happens when you get to the E2 visa interview? Well, we always recommend that you arrive at least 30 minutes early. Why is that? Because you're going to be nervous enough. You don't want to have your timing, the timing of your interview, be another concern, right? Get there in plenty of time, relax. If you want to walk around the block, you got there so early, that's great. You're likely going to wait outside until the officer calls your time, right? Everyone with an interview between 9 and 9:15, please come in now. You are going to walk through metal detectors. You are going to show your appointment notice. Everybody into the consulate must have an appointment notice. Please bring that no matter what. And you're going to show your DS 160 confirmation pages. From there, the consulate officer or the officer at the building will say, great, go to room 317 or 219 or 602 or whatever, depending on where you're at. You're going to go to that room. Once you arrive in that room, there will likely be someone sitting there at a desk that says, can I have your appointment notice and your passport and your DS-160 confirmation notice? Hand those over and go sit down. Sometimes that person is not there, and that's okay too, right? If that's the case, just go and sit down in the chairs. At some point, I will say most of the consulates run pretty close to on time. There are some exceptions. Finland, I'm looking at you, but most of them will generally run on time. So at some point, someone's going to call your name. At that point, you walk up to the bank teller windows. Your family can stay seated. If the consular officer needs your family to come up, or when they need them to come up, they'll let you know. Otherwise, as the E2 applicant, just walk up to the window. From there, you will likely see the officer going like this. They're looking at a computer screen right there. What are they looking at? You're looking at the notes about your case. In many very busy consulates, they have local staff who reviews the applications, have a lot of training on these applications, reviews the applications, and makes some notes about your case. The officer is pulling those up as you walk forward. This could be the first time this officer has seen anything about your case, okay? Alternatively, it is possible that that officer already reviewed the application beforehand and made themselves a few notes, okay? So either one of those could be possible. In either case, they are not going to be super duper familiar with the tiny little intricacies of everything. However, there could be some questions from the local staff that has some very detailed questions about intricacies, okay? So when you walk up, they'll say hello. They're usually fairly nice and pleasant, and they are going to ask you, generally, they will start with a question similar to this. Why did you choose this business? Or tell me about your business. Or why are you going to be successful at running this business? This is your opportunity. Now, as you can see by looking around, there are tons of people, and you are not going to be there for 30 minutes giving a whole monologue about how amazing this business is, but you are going to get 30 seconds right up front to lay out the really important bullet points about your business, right? So talk about it. We did the research. We know there's a hole in the market. This business fills that hole. We also have 2 employees already on staff, and we have 6 clients who have already engaged us for our services. Our revenues so far are $27,000, and we're not even in the US yet. We have other meetings waiting for us as soon as we are able to be there on the E2 visa. Wow, what a great opening. How could they say no, right? So be prepared for that. Really work through that. Make sure you stay at about that 30-second mark, okay? Because they are not going to have time to listen to how your aunt once told you that you really had a gift and now we're moving to that. Now, get right to the point. But make sure you show confidence and enthusiasm. That's what they're looking for, okay? Other typical questions. How much did you invest in this business? You should know that. That should be in your business plan and throughout your application. You should know also how you invested. Oh, about 15% of it was in marketing. We spent 30% on inventory, things like that. You should also know how many employees do you currently have? What do they do? What's their job title and like what's a description of what they do? You should know how many employees you plan to hire each year for the next 5 years. That's in your business plan as well. What those people generally would be doing, that type of thing. Know that employee section in and out. Other questions they may ask are about like your break even. What's your break even? How, and how do you plan on getting there? Other questions, maybe about your business partner. If you have a business partner, how do you know this person? Why did you choose to go into business with this person? Be prepared to answer that, okay? Because that is a common question as well. Even if that person's a US citizen, all right? They may want to know, why do you know this person? How do you know this person? That type of thing. These are very common questions. Here is a summer 2026 update. This is what's happening now. As you may have heard, the consulates are much more invested in researching your social media. The E2s are not specifically on that list yet. However, be prepared that that could happen at any moment. So you should know before you ever even submit this application, you should know what's on your social media, what it says, all of those things, because some of those questions could come up, okay? Other things to note, there's a set of new questions. Aren't we lucky that they are supposed to start asking as of May 2026? We have had some interviews. They have not asked. However, as time goes on, they may become more aware that they are supposed to ask questions similar to, have you ever feared for your life in your country? Have you ever had a scenario that made you scared to return? Be honest, always be honest, always be honest. But they are looking for people they feel might try to file for asylum or something similar. This could be very difficult for you as a non-immigrant visa applicant. So be aware that those questions could come. In Toronto, yes. In Australia, yes. In the UK, yes. These are new questions they are supposed to be asking. So be aware that those questions will come up or could come up. In addition, this is rumor mill through immigration lawyers. We talk all the time that they are now beginning to, particularly if you have a unique name, type your name into Google while you stand at the interview and go, oh, what's this? What's that? What's this other thing? So Google yourself before you get to that interview. Know what's out there about you in case you need to explain anything or, what have you. So be very prepared for those things, okay? Other notes. This is not a trick or a trap, okay? It's not what this is about. They need to know that you are going to successfully run this business in the United States, right? So just Go up there with confidence and knowledge about your business. They want to see that. They want to see that you know your business. You're enthusiastic about your business, and you're very confident that you're going to be able to build this business. Now, consular officers can ask you anything they want to ask. That is definitely true, but they will typically stick to the business. So be very prepared. You read that cover letter and business plan that has been submitted to the government. Read it forwards, backwards, all of it. Be very prepared, okay? Do you have any other questions about the E2 visa, about the interview, about any of it? We would love to speak with you. Give us a call anytime. We'd love to speak with you about your E2 visa.